This is Connor Listoka here with 372 pages. We'll never get back. The Bag Book Podcast, where Mike and I read books that we're not expecting to like from the outset. And Mike, Empress Theresa, I think, delivered on its reputation as we finish it up here today.
I'll reserve my comments until the end of this broadcast hour.
I was scrolling through just to make sure there was nothing we missed. Some of the Goodreads reviews right before we logged on, and there was people go hard on Goodreads. They write lengthy things complete with GIFs and quotations and stuff. I even saw one from one of our own listeners, Mark, the guy who recommended us Caleb's Dream. And so you get the, here's what's wrong with this book. Here's examples of what's wrong with this book. Here's a few funny jokes about it, all in one review. And then you scroll down one more review, and it's just like, just kill me now, God, 1 star.
This is also, I realized when I kind of looked at reviews too, that we're the turkey vultures coming to the carcass that has been picked over quite clean. The bones have been bleached in the sun and are white, and we're like, hey guys, what's this body here? So
right,
I just realized we're kind of picking this. So if you've already been familiar with this, we apologize. This is the last reading of it.
Yeah, our next podcast is going to be our analysis of the chocolate rain video. I think there's still some water to be mined from that stone.
People haven't really figured out. Speaking of, by the way, I was with someone who completely unfamiliar with, dwelling on bad things. Someone who just lives life and has a job that's not in the bad crap.
What must that be like?
Said something about Spielberg. Well, I'm not a huge fan. He's made some bad movies. And I was like, yes. What movies might have been bad? And he eventually got to Ernest Cline's movie. I was like,
wow.
He's like, why did you do that movie? That movie sucked.
Nice. When it penetrates that kind of guy's sphere, that's when you know that we're not just harping on it for our own sake.
I did not then go into a lengthy explanation of, well, I have a podcast actually. Would we? What? So, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Did you prefer Shoto or H? And did you feel the Shining scene was a bit gratuitous for being inserted?
Yeah. Didn't get into it.
Well, you probably also wouldn't have wanted to delve into the fact that we've been reading Empress Theresa for now 3 months, the tale of a young girl who saw a fox when she was 10 and was given the power to transport Israel into a new island in the center of the, I don't know, the Arctic Ocean, I think is where she was putting it, between there and Africa. So
shooting columns of water into space, I guess, using
plywood boards and chess boards and some more. There's another invention as we get to in this part to make land bridges and control the Earth's axis, and telling her foes to drop dead when they even just slightly question whether she's thought her plans out, which inevitably she has not.
And maybe now is the appropriate time to do it, because I don't think it comes up. Well, it does come up, the title of the book and then her title. That there wasn't a moment in the book where she was like, I declare myself Empress Theresa, and then right? It was just like, I guess I'm Empress Theresa.
Yeah.
I found that it was just like, wait a minute, she's the Empress of what? Of a one world government, I guess, because all governments kowtow to her. Anyway, there was just no moment where it's like, that's the title, man. It's like a movie where, The Perfect Storm, someone's got to say in the movie, my God, this is the perfect storm.
My God, that mannequin's on the move.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to see Paris and Ireland and Israel, but we never got to, the Gambia never weighed in on her actions here. The leader of that country, or Chile, was never consulted on what they thought about all this type of stuff. You had some Middle Eastern countries disparaged and threatened to build ski resorts there, I think was sort of her plan. But
that was about it. But she never stood up and said, now I am. Do we, gentlemen and ladies, can we all agree I am Empress Theresa. That never happened. She just says it about herself.
Yes. Well, reading this book, which she continues her exploits here, because it's all very it's like isolated incidents. It's picaresque. Is that what you describe it when you just sort of move on to the next adventure? Because she has moved Israel. She's been shot up in a plane. She's toured around Paris. I realized it was sort of like Gump & Co. She's leading this sort of Forrest Gump existence where she invents Coca-Cola and then causes a explosion at the hog factory, but she just moves on, and nothing really ever seems to impact the next adventure, but she just gains this reputation as she continues to do this as emperor. Gump never declared himself world emperor, but he might have achieved some sort of political influence in the book we read. That was a while ago.
Yeah, should have given him a title beyond just his name. She moved most of Israel, as you'll recall. There were some.
Okay, right. A 250,000 people left behind. What are they doing?
There were some people who, then I guess the OPEC terrorists, weren't they aligned? Would they just go kill them all or whatever?
I assume that didn't work well. Maybe a Spirit Halloween moved in or something to the stores there. I don't know. That's usually what happens when buildings get abandoned.
It became a dojo of some kind, I assume, but maybe yes. Oriental rugs. I don't know.
Terry Silver opened up dojos all over Israel and taught for free. That was his plan.
Yeah. All right.
Well, so that has all happened. What is yet to happen is that they're going to mediate the conflict, the 3/4 of a century long conflict in Korea between North Korea
that is this
and
chapter.
South Korea.
Is there any sense in bringing people up on the plot? Because, like you said, it is just.
We mentioned the fox, and then we mentioned moving Israel, so it's
just
she was
chapters.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a college dropout who a fox killed her, or sorry, someone just walked in my office.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, they certainly got an earful there. They're calling the New Bedlam Sanitarium at this moment.
Wait, what? Sorry, no. The fox spits a white ball into her, which
correct.
We sort of assume is an alien, but there's no reason to think that it is an alien.
Sure. She deems it such, and then everything she pretty much assumes about this alien is correct. We get no source of this alien. She then thinks there are others out there, and that it was sort of passed on from the fox to her because she also had hair, so it recognized her as a similar being to the fox, which, again, that was brought up 2/3 of the way through the book.
And she has sort of famous hair, I guess.
She does. Mentioned off and on. She's
sort of like the Wendy's mascot. She's famous for her hair.
Sure.
And then because of that, the U.S. tries to kill her by putting her up in a plane.
Wendy's mascot. Wendy. That's probably right.
I mean, she is. I don't.
Wendy from Wendy's. Yeah.
First name basis. I don't know. Am I that familiar with her? Yes, it is. It's the chairman's daughter, right?
Yes, Dave Thomas. But yes, so then
she's
she
probably
got put on
85 by now. Anyway, enough about the Wendy's mascot. She gets almost killed by the U.S. president who plants an atom bomb. She saves herself by stuffing her jumpsuit with empty bottles of Coke or Diet Coke.
Yes.
It's unclear.
Sure. Could have been Tab.
And she is able to survive because she goes into a deep sleep while she's. I think we learn that just sort of in pieces.
And that comes back here in later in this section.
And then Prime Minister Blair rescues her with the UK forces, and she becomes a worldwide celebrity. But unfortunately, the Earth's wind shuts off, and so Earth has only a limited amount of time to survive. All crops die and everything. So she shoots columns of water up in the air using her... using Hal. Hal is the name she gives to this whatever entity lives inside of her. She shoots columns of water and moves land masses, and then terrorists begin inflating the price of oil. It's unclear. So
yeah,
she
I mean,
goes to war against
I mean,
OPEC, and she realizes that OPEC will strike back against Israel, so she moves most of Israel, 78% of Israel, on a landmass. And they hang out in where? Crete?
yes, Crete.
They're hanging out in Crete now, right?
Yeah, they were then dispersed, I believe, to the U.S., where they will be living in people's guest homes and cabins until Israel's ready to go.
Okay.
And in the meantime, she also starts her own Theresa Island, where she undercuts the OPEC oil industry. She is a trillionaire, I believe.
She is a trillionaire, yes.
Don't forget that she's also brought to the Earth many rare metals from excess material. The sun just had all this stuff lying around, so she just sort of hauls down millions of tons of silver and gold, reignites the silversmithing industry, undercuts the gold market and the diamond market, too.
That's true, yes. And gives everyone in the UK like 10 pounds of silver or something like that.
Yeah, the silver rationing. There's lots of people who can now just wear diamonds to the McDonald's and stuff. And, don't forget that she tilted the Earth's axis by 5 degrees, eliminating winter.
That's true. I forgot about that. So that's where we are now. And what I think their last reading was kind of dealing with New Israel and everything. Oh, and then she started getting followed by a bunch of weeping Asian men. I think that's her description. That's not mine.
Yes, exactly.
And so she figures out that they are North Korean. What do you call it? Refugees, I guess.
Yeah, like, they fled, I guess. Yeah.
Please help our country, because we know that you are the Empress Theresa. And she's like, oh, this again. Oh, I'm sick of this. I just want me and Steve to go to Ireland because I hate Paris. So I believe that I've caught you up to date. I think was all clear.
Nobody has any questions.
No,
We're good to go. She does show, and also just to speak of her character, as much as she has one, she is more than willing to do these water raising, land transporting type of things. And then as soon as anyone suggests that there is something else she could do, or that maybe try it this way, or have you considered helping these million people who are starving, she's like, gah, like just very teenagery, like put upon. I didn't ask for this, she says a lot. She's the fox was not as nearly as nasty. We've seen nasty foxes, but she gets quite nasty with whenever someone sort of she feels put upon with all this. She wishes many people to drop dead, but then I guess just sometimes in a moment of weakness, she passes by 10 weeping Asian men, and she decides that that's going to be the next thing she does, is help the North Koreans.
Yes. So that's where we are now. She is helping. Chapter 24. Let's just dive in. She gets a phone call from President Stinson.
Correct.
Which I do love her response when President Stinson calls. Theresa, President Stinson, how are you? Fine. What's up? So if I ever take a call from the President of the United States, that's what I'm going to do. Fine. What's up?
Yeah.
Just get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets all these phone calls that are all very important things, and it never says what she's doing in the meantime. So I'm always imagining she and Steve are just sitting there watching TV with their trillions of dollars and world power. There's nothing that's their life is never expounded upon other than just getting these calls from people.
I think we know what Steve is doing. Steve is probably like, he bought a new snake or something. Like, hey, babe, I'm going to feed this thing a mouse now. You want to watch? Steve, we just bought, didn't they buy a floor of an office building to live in?
I think they bought 30 Rock or something. They bought a big office building, maybe the whole thing, and sort of gave people a few months to get out.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve is living large. I mean, he's using his trillions, I'm sure, to the best of his ability. Snakes. He's got sunglasses on the back of his head. He doesn't have to buy the fake Oakleys anymore from the guy on Canal Street. He can buy the real stuff.
Buys them right from the site where they're way overpriced. Who cares? So the president says, like, hey, can you come to the White House? And she covers the phone. Is like, Steve, what do you think? And he's like, no, come on, babe. Don't go to the White House. But they do. And but only, she says, like, only if I can meet Colonel Palin.
Colonel Palin, yes. Obviously, she says, tell her to send a general to Colonel Palin's office. I'll meet a general in Colonel Palin's office at West Point tomorrow morning. Obviously, this is the first time this man has ever been mentioned.
So here's my first note on it is she says this: I've developed a technique to get Hal to find things when I've programmed the descriptions to him. I mean, that must have been some fancy plywood. I did not. Do you have any conception of what the programs of Hal are?
They
involve chess pieces and plywood, and clocks, sort of clock faces.
Oh, I forgot about the clocks. Yeah, the
Drawn
chess was
on
related to the
plywood?
clock. But yeah, this has got to be that 3/4 inch plywood. It's got the pine veneers on it, I think. What she has done, and she sort of describes this in programming talk, is like she designs a algorithm where she's going to take, I believe, miniature versions that she has somehow scanned of every weapon in North Korea. So AK-47,
yes,
tank, atom bomb. She's going to do that so Hal recognizes what they look like. And then Hal, he's designed what is like, maybe he took computer science 101 and she just says like, okay, he's going to look at random people. If they have a gun, Hal will expect that other people around them might also have guns. So he'll scan the people around them, and that'll be the most efficient way to do this. I don't know why Hal needs to be efficient. He can literally move islands.
Yeah, they give Hal wooden copies of weapons, right?
Okay. So like G.I. Joe style.
But again, so Hal's a dude? Like, Hal, look at this. Does Hal go, I got it, scanned it, all done? There's no mention of how this works. It's just, I have these wooden things. And then she says, well, if I disarm North Korea, who says this? Oh, is this the general, Mr. Soweto or whatever? The North Korean general. He says, here's a line that I thought was like, whoa, dude, please. He says, no, you can't do that. You can't destroy all their weapons. They'll all be killed. The atrocities will make Nazi concentration camps look like vacation resorts. I don't think we need to be. It's not really the place of this book to be making those kinds of comparisons.
So make Dachau look like the fire festival.
I don't think you've earned that sort of gravitas to talk about this in any way.
I don't know. She saw a fox and then she went to Ireland, right? I mean, come on. But so when he says that, because that was her plan, she's like, I'll get rid of all the weapons, bada bing, bada boom. And he's like, yes. Well, that means that they'll turn on everyone who worked on the government and guillotine them one by one. And she's like, I was stunned. I hadn't thought of that. I felt stupid and embarrassed at my incompetence. Which, it's like every other plan, such as tilting the Earth 5 degrees, you just sort of did without consulting anybody. And then we're told later that it wasn't good. So I guess it's good that you didn't do the one that was going to make Nazi concentration camps look like vacation resorts.
To which, when she's given this criticism, she says, oh, yeah, right. Give me a minute to think. It's a great way to handle the disarmament of North Korea. Yeah. Hang on. Just let me think about this. What if we do this? Like, this is not like trying to figure out the new slogan for a ham you're selling or something like this. This is serious stuff.
Even that requires focus groups and A/B testing, I think.
Yes.
But to her credit, she does say, after a minute and a half, I looked up at the general. So she did think that she marinated on it extra long. And her plan B is, I'll just take over North Korea myself. So, yes. And she does say this quote. So she says, it was a sketchy plan. So were the plans of all wars. And I believe that is Sun Tzu from The Art of War there. I think that's what she's quoting. Probably something Steve told her as he was rereading it for multiple times.
And she says, that might work. I'll inform the president. So, yeah, again, not exactly Alexander the Great or anything here. Like, yeah.
Well, as long as it doesn't make, what was it? The atrocities make Nazi concentrations. It looks like vacation resorts. I think that's once that's the bar you're going for, I think we'll be in the good here.
She also mentions earlier that the stuff she was doing, what this is an incredibly complex problem. This wasn't just like raising an island or throwing water into space. So this is a little more. She at least recognizes the complexity. Raising new land masses, it is but the work of a moment. But this is complex.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I think the author, is it Norman Bouton?
Yes.
They don't. This is where she orders the wood replicas of the weapons to be made. Okay, they don't have to be exact replicas. I told Colonel Palin at West Point. God. You can make them out of wood. It's the size and shape that matters. So he had to be some kind of like carpenter or woodworker. Like, I'm going to get more wood in this thing. What are you talking about? You're making models? And then is she showing them to herself? What is she has that weird black and white vision where she passes out or covers her eyes?
When she puts her hands on her eyes.
And then she sees like what Hal sees or something. It's very unclear.
I don't know if she's just putting them on plywood and then there's a little like a 3D scanner going over it like that. You put them in between two pieces of plywood and that's how Hal's able to do it. You make a AK-47 sandwich with that. He gives you just enough information about what he wants you to think about to confuse and irritate you, and then sort of just moves on to being like, anyway, Hal scanned the weapons, and then that's all you need to know.
This is where you want the author to just tell you, it's like a variety of 80s dance moves. You figure it out. I'm not... Just tell me what you're thinking of. What movie did you see? So I can picture it in my mind, at least something, but you can't.
Yeah, because he hasn't been shy about that either. It's lengthy paragraphs about the Kane mutiny. So just, tell us what you're doing here.
So Steve is like, hey, I'll go with you as you take over North Korea. Well, she's going to reunite Korea, so it's going to be Korea, North and South. Mm-hmm. Forget it. You can't go into North Korea with me. They might take you hostage and get me to do anything they want. If people don't understand that, they can drop dead. She goes from being incredibly serious. Those people can eat me if they don't understand that you can't go to North Korea.
It's like, oh, whoa, Theresa, that escalated quickly. It's although it does end with a period, so she's not really shouting it. So,
oh, that's true. Empress, please.
To that response, it says Steve felt embarrassed about staying back in the safety of the South while his wife went along 24 million enemies who wanted her dead. I was like, yeah, I bet Steve is really putting up some convincing protests. It's like, no, I mean, I'll go if you want me to. I'll go in guns blazing, totally. But hey, if you think it's not the best, like, sure, I'll stay here with like my 5.1 surround sound home theater. That's fine.
Yeah, he's saying that he's not looking up from his video game.
Yes,
I totally will, man. If you want me to, you just say the word and I am there. Oh, God, come on. Yes.
Yeah. Steve has called in his connections to get Call of Duty 5 released before a pre-release so he can pwn a bunch of noobs when it finally comes out on day one.
So this is our plan to reunite the two countries. Therefore, I would have to run the country dictatorially through the North Korean bureaucracy for a while with no backseat driving from the South. So just... This is the author's understanding of what it takes to reunite North and South Korea.
Reunite a country that's been divided for pretty much the lifetimes of every single citizen there.
It has a DMZ. That is quite famous. All right. But that's all you have to do is just go in there and go, oh, the 18-year-old, oh, please, she's 19. Oh, yeah, that's right. The 19-year-old girl is going to be the dictator. And South Korea, just shut up, okay? No backseat driving.
You've lived in fear of a nuclear annihilation from these people for your entire lives, but hey, be quiet and let the 19-year-old handle it. You make it seem like she hasn't thought this out, though, because look, in the very next sentence it says, to make this possible, I had to have some sensitivity to the North Koreans' pride. I couldn't strut around in jeans, or worse than that, a skirt. So clearly she's given this quite a bit of thought. I mean, she's picked out her outfit already.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that little detail.
And so based on not wanting to strut around in jeans, it was agreed that I would be commissioned an officer in the U.S. Navy. So that's what it takes to get that. It's just like, I can't wear jeans. I'll have to become a commissioned officer. Ends up being a 5-star general in the United States Army. So that's what the closest thing to Empress, I guess, that we're actually going to get.
It is. I think we finally, with that, we arrive at the cover, correct?
Yes, exactly. She is wearing children's drawing of a woman in a fancy military uniform.
Yes. By the way, she goes to Colonel Palin's office and explained how Hal's mat boards work. But that's it. They're not actually explained. It's just she says she explained it. And then she devises a ping pong ball in a glass tube that tells you when a weapon is destroyed.
Inspired by the little floating ball gauges used on old hospital oxygen tanks. So this guy's probably remembering visiting his great aunt in the hospital in the 50s or something. Steve had
his
contrived...
uncle was in an iron lung or something.
Yeah, it just haunted his childhood that he was in the corner beeping like Arthur Digby Sellers in The Big Lebowski, and then worked his way into a thing, into a book later on. Steve had contrived a simple device to monitor Hal's progress. It consisted of nothing but a ping pong ball in a glass tube. So obviously inspired by a beer pong game Steve had played during his 3/4 of a semester at college. And it's one of those things that is, I think you see him in like The Right Stuff or something, but it's you blow into it and try to raise the ball in the tube.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the lung capacity test is what they're doing with that. And
so it's a 2-foot tube, but if he raised the ping pong ball up to the 1-foot level of the 2-foot high glass tube. So and then every time the ball rises that 1 foot, so I don't know, like if it only rises 8 inches, it's like, false alarm, I guess. Mm-hmm. So if it rises up 1 foot, that means a weapon was destroyed.
Right.
I believe.
Could we make the tube 1 foot and have it raise at 6 inches? Because it really just seems like the halfway mark is what's happening here.
This one goes to 11. The cover is finally arrived at. Here it is. The group of officers enthusiastically applauded and cheered. This is when she was made, the 19-year-old college dropout is made. Talk about stolen valor. Holy cow. I hugged Steve. General Walters brought out a small bottle of 12-year-old scotch and a bucket of ice. So that's just available to officers. Glasses were passed around as Steve and I made small talk with the officers for half an hour. I'd love to have that recorded. Then it was time to go down to the uniform shop. I was scheduled to go to the White House sometime that afternoon. So I believe that's supposed to be the cover, is her like getting the uniform. And understand, all the officers around her are happy about this. The 19-year-old college dropout. They're like, yeah, this is what we've always wanted. Get the scotch out. We have a bucket of ice sitting around, don't we? Of course we do.
Steve, get in here. Steve's already pouring Diet Coke into the 12-year-old scotch. You got any, Captain and Coke? That's more my speed.
I brought my own Splenda because I can't stand this stuff without.
Steve's trying to do a shot, like body shots with it. But yeah, the captains are thinking about their boot camp. The actual combat duty they saw with there's people there with silver stars and Purple Hearts, Medal of Honors, and then they waltz in together and just decide, because she doesn't want to wear jeans, that she needs to be a 5-star general.
And it was at a place next to Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, wow. So,
like within sight of their fallen comrades, they're saluting this 19-year-old girl.
Steve's going up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier guys and going, maybe, trying to get them to break character. Like, Steve, please don't. No, the 5-star general says it's okay.
He's still got his... The scotch was not supposed to leave the room. Whatever, man. Why'd you give me a plastic mug if it wasn't for this?
Neither of these children are 21. Does that matter? Oh, God. He's poured it into a beer bong.
That was chapter 24, I think.
It was indeed. Okay, and chapter 25 sort of picks up that, driving down to a uniform shop,
yes.
Which I guess is probably not a shop that you really go to. It's probably an army term for that. But she wanted a male uniform, not a female outfit, because she wanted the authoritative aura of a male. So once again, it just sort of seems like a 70-year-old guy wrote this and isn't really what a 19-year-old woman would be thinking in this situation. However, she does want
female shoes would look silly with the male dress. What? Why?
Is it like G.I. Jane? She's like, she has to be like a hot, like, Manolo's wearing army officer or something. What kind of movies has he been watching where this happens? But then, so she does, she's girl bossing it up, but then it says, Steve thought I looked awfully cute in my little uniform. Hon, you never looked better. It turns me on. More than the first time you walked into my college room? Not that much. So it sort of undercuts the moment of the solemn ceremony at Arlington Cemetery.
Steve, please. And she's headed off to the White House later. So Steve has a different set of sunglasses for that. Way more formal, man. She says of herself, I was a neutral third party and a woman who could be presumed to be kinder than the North Koreans' own insane leaders. Kind of a bad start when you're going to go to North Korea and take over and try to reunite the country.
What's up, you insane bastards? Woo!
I'm in charge now. Woo!
She also says, I was the first 5-star general since the death of Omar Bradley. The president just makes her that right away. So maybe she can go and, Steve can take a shot at his grave in Arlington Cemetery once they're done as a means of paying respect.
And people cheered and applauded again.
Great. Yes. It's very Moon People with you in unison cheering and applauding.
It's something that I point out later, but it does build where you're just like, why does this keep happening? The moment was funny because it reflected a serious issue. It was still not known what I would do because the world didn't know me. What did I want? Why did I do the things I did? What would I not do? Who was I really? How did I get this way? That's what she says to the... I'm like... We just applauded you. We don't really have any questions. I'm sure your motives are good. Like, who cares?
Right. Too late at this point in time. I mean, you have moved Israel somewhere. But also, we've been reading this book for 3 months, and we don't know the answers to these questions. And that's on you, the author, Norman Boutin. You're not by the way, big of an enigma.
I don't think this is a spoiler alert. I don't think it is because we're almost near the end of the book. In the last episode of this podcast, we predicted that she would turn into a tyrant. And that would be the drive. Like, okay, that's the last third of the book or whatever. Spoiler alert, that does not happen.
Unfortunately, yeah.
She's just the weird mix of herself, and we're just supposed to go, I don't understand what she is. Is she a tyrant? I mean, she is, but I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, there are twists I didn't see coming. I'll give it that. Even though some of them were spoiled in real or fanfic. But she says to the press, she's always been like, I don't know the press anything. I don't know the paparazzi. I didn't ask for this, so they don't need to know anything about me. So she gets up in front of the mic and it's like, who are you? Why are you doing this? She goes, it's very simple. I follow my conscience. I am what I do. If you think that's easy, try it for one day. We are saved or damned, not for what we think, but what we do. If kids understood that they are what they do and they can change their identity today, there would be no street gangs and teenage prisoners. People personalities collapse if they have nothing good to do. It's like, Madam Empress Theresa, this sounds more like the Facebook rantings of a 70-year-old man on a story about teens who robbed a Under Armour store. Like, why do you talk this way? Kids should pull up their pants these days. What's going on? That doesn't sound like a 19-year-old girl.
She ends her speech, by the way, with the quote from the Bible: "What is man that you are mindful of him, and a son of man that you care for him? Yet you have made him little less than a god." And then like steps away. So people are like, what? Well, the New York Times said my tiny speech would be carved on my tombstone. I hoped it wouldn't be soon. I guess. Did the New York Times really say?
How big is that tombstone going to be?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, she must have one of those. She buys the full mausoleum, or Steve buys the full mausoleum. I'm going to get you one of those, like, marble houses. You know those ones? You see them in the middle of the cemetery?
Steve just has the lyrics to a Butterfly by Crazy Town carved onto it. It's like, that doesn't quite go as well, Steve.
So Steve only looks at the one wall and is like, what did I want? What did I do? Why would I not? Who was I really? Did she say that? Really? Yes, she did in the New York Times. And then
noobs.
She explains what the Bible is. Nearly every page of the Bible tells us what we should do, yet the Bible itself never explicitly states the idea. Probably never read the book of Leviticus then, but it's a small. Is that what the Bible is? Anyway, yeah, she gets into what the Bible is later. So
it sounds like he's got some notes for the Bible. Like, hey, the Bible. Like let's lay these things out better.
I've written down some things. I've got some improvements here.
That's his follow-up. Norman Boutin edition. So after delivering the speech that will one day be carved onto her tombstone, she finally goes to South Korea. And she's going to talk all these generals and stuff to it. Like, here's Pyongyang, and here's what I'm going to do. I placed one of my HAL program map boards on a table with Steve's glass tube and ping pong ball indicator device. So just imagining the generals just sort of looking at each other like, this is the plan? Like, what the hell is going on? This is who told us just to stay back and not backseat drive while she's doing this? Like, what the hell is going on?
Why is the glass tube 2 feet tall? It seems like we could have saved some money there. After that, I'll keep Hal destroying the small weapons. Here we go. If anyone can follow this. In an upside-down U shape 10 miles in from the coast, going up and around Pyongyang and down the 10 miles on the other side. What are you talking about? What is going on in this author's mind? What the hell is this?
Yes, like you said before, what is the thing that he's ripping off going to be? Because obviously he ripped off the Cecil B. DeMille 10 Commandments, that scene. He all sorts of other things. And but there's nothing that indicates what this is, like upside down, a bell curve type of thing. And then the Hal is going to just search in there algorithmically for atomic bombs. And when he finds one, he races a ping pong ball afoot.
And then she says, so Hal is destroying weapon by weapon, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then she says, this is going to take some time. I was like, okay, well, how long is that? And then just the next sentence after that, she says, we'll wait 4 hours. So if you want to know what some time is, that is a unit of time, and it is 4 hours. So there you go.
Yeah, she keeps leaving the room and coming back, because later she leaves for a day and comes back the next day. But there's no indication of what she is doing during this time, whether she's exploring South Korea or just going home and trying to find American news channels or something like that. We get no insights into how she spends her free time as she's waiting for Hal to destroy atomic bombs by navigating a 10-mile upside-down U.
And is she getting into the uniform every day as she comes in, and like the generals are like, here she is. Here's the 19-year-old. Thanks for wearing those male shoes. The female ones would have looked weird. And God forbid you'd wear a skirt. Oh, boy.
They say that North Korea is going to, even though she's destroyed all the weapons, is going to still order their citizens to attack the invading army. So she realized that they'll have to just like mow down these innocent citizens, and so she's hasn't foreseen that contingency yet again. And she's like, I feel sick to my stomach about this. Hundreds of thousands of North Koreans suspected of not being fully enthusiastic about defending the country will be tortured and killed. They will die cursing the name of Theresa Hartley. This was the low. There was an ultimate crisis in many people's lives. I had met mine. Yeah, that's pretty bad as far as things go. That beats like, my car broke down. I have no self signal. How am I going to get home? Millions of Koreans tortured and killed, die cursing your name is it's a notch above that. And her response to that, I lay on my bed crying. I thought of what
the Bible?
Dorothy said.
Dorothy.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
No, not the Bible. Not the Bible. Not my son, what have I done? It's Dorothy in the Witch's Castle. I'm frightened, Auntie M. I'm frightened. So maybe just try throwing a bucket of water on Kim Jong-il. That might to get our way out of all of this situation. Who knows?
May I take your weapons with you? Please. And take him with you. She's going to, this is a direct quote from her. I'm going to move Pyongyang to the west a few miles into the sea. So I see no issue with that.
Sure. That's
the solution. Like,
hey.
Look, guys, why are we trying so hard with this ping pong ball crap? Let's just move Pyongyang.
Kind of a one-trick pony, if you ask me. Like, hey, Theresa, how do we solve this problem? Move it into the sea. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, I guess.
But they quickly realize that won't work for some reason. I don't know. Scherzer calls up and says something about it. I don't know. But then they say they're going to move Korea, all of it, I think. Will you move Korea? Sure, why not? What about earthquakes? The Earth's mantle is 40 miles thick. I only moved the top mile. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
I think, will you move Korea? Sure, why not? Could be my favorite exchange from the book so far. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, are there any, there's nothing in the con column at all. Like, will you move Korea? Let's see, pros, yes. Cons, sure, why not? I don't see any reason not. Does anyone have
responsive? Do you want to get Subway for lunch? Yeah, sure, why not?
Before moving the land, I had to move underwater rock to give the land a place to slide into. I had a separate hell program to do that. What does that mean? Separate from what?
Separate from a few sentences earlier, she says, I found the, quote, Move Jerusalem program. So it's like she's programming it in BASIC or something, C++, using the boards and the chess pieces, and she saved them. She saved it's like a huge computer punch card that is just like, let's see, Antarctic thing, land bridge. Here it is. Move Jerusalem. Incredible.
And this is the programs, I think he explicitly said they're all on plywood boards, right?
Yeah, she's brought
because
the plywood.
Steve and Arthur went to Home Depot. Sorry, the Home Depot, and got them.
No.
And then he instructed generals to like drill holes in them or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah. I think she's boarded them up like a big shipping container and taken them with her on Air Force One to get to the North Korean generals.
So she moves Korea, and this is a great time for this kind of joke, as you're moving a continent. There was no bumping up and down, but the friction was unimaginable. This was a good week to be a Japanese seismologist. Yeah. Why this all of a sudden? We're talking about moving the continent of Korea.
And the Japanese seismologists still at work? The pending famine, I guess we're led to believe it was solved. However,
I think it was solved by the water columns, maybe?
Okay. And the tilting? The earth tilting?
The earth tilting was just sort of that was kind of an afterthought. That's like, putting a clear coat on your car or something like
sure.
Let me tilt the earth too. As long as I'm in here, why don't I just...
It's like he slashed the price of it in half, and that's probably what it cost to begin with. Oh, sure, I'll do it. I'll tilt the earth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come in here and again next year. If should I just do it now and just tilt the earth? Like, yeah, you might as well. We're just gonna ask you to do it.
Like, listen, I could let you walk out of here without tilting the earth, but like my manager's going to be pretty PO'd at me, so you don't want me to get in trouble, do you? Just tilt the earth. That'll make him happy. He's happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. You get a better deal.
Hang on, he was just stepping out. I'm going to head back and ask him if I can give you the price that I'm thinking of, which is a hell of a price. I don't offer this every day. Hang on, I'm going to go see if he's back there.
Then they're in there being like, babe, I think we should tilt the earth. I don't know, Steve. Like, no, I think let's get it. Like, oh, here he comes.
Steve, are you high? I mean, a little. What's the problem, man?
The guy on the negotiating Reddit said it was a great tactic because then you're not like, if you drink before, you're going to be impulsive. But this, you really start to like think about it. You get inside of his headspace. You figure out where he's coming from.
It's like
that's why I'm still wearing sunglasses too.
It's better to be in a car accident when you're drunk because then your body's loose when you crash the car. Steve, I don't think you thought this through.
Well, you didn't think it through when you tilted the earth. They're sort of different, Steve. I don't know.
So she goes to the lunchroom, I believe. The Korean generals were in the lunchroom too. This time they looked at me with wonder and respect. No words were exchanged. You did not bother the world Empress. So that's just what she calls herself now.
Yeah.
But she's representing is it the army? Is she an army general?
I think so, because she was at West Point, right?
Yes. Okay. So she's Omar Bradley. She was. That's right. She's a 4-star general.
Five. First one since Omar Bradley.
Okay. All right.
I thought it was very funny that as World Empress, they bring this up a couple times. Word flashed on television about tomorrow's exciting event. Commentators talked about many things. One of the questions was whether I had asked anybody's permission to move the two countries. Not sure who you really check in with about that. But then it later says, Theresa did wonderfully. She scored in the 98th percentile across the board. She should be at the top of her class. Someday she could do anything. Really? I didn't have a clue about anything then. Now, still in my teens, I was moving countries without permission. The permission is just a very funny thing to think about. Being like, yeah, we took a vote. It was pretty close. It was 52% to 48%, but we do give you permission to move our country.
Like she says, the follow up to that asking about permission is actually says well, the Korean generals knew about it, but they didn't say anything. I just went ahead with it. So just full out like Urkel levels of. Did I do that? Did I move Korea?
North Korea.
Oopsie, I guess I did.
But it's like the Korean generals are sort of just like coyly looking at her when you like catch a kid who's like trying to sneak a cookie and you're like, I won't tell, like you're the cool uncle type of thing. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Do a little fist bump under the table and a wink, as they head off with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move Korea. That's fine.
There goes Pyongyang. Yeah. She says this, so I think it's moving. There's like some water spouts that she says Cecil B. DeMille couldn't have dreamed up a scene like what would soon happen.
There must be water coming from the opposite direction. Holy smokes, I hadn't thought of that. Really? You missed a detail when you were moving countries.
For as much as plywood is involved in this, measure twice, cut once is not exactly how she rolls.
No. I have no idea what's going on. The water walls met with a noise unheard since Krakatoa. Water spray was thrown up 1,000 feet straight up and to the sides of the crash site. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Do you have any idea what's going on?
She's just trying to describe, more Moses parting the sea. And at this point in time, you realize it doesn't matter because this plan pretty much goes off without a hitch.
But she talks about it like people go into... or is that coming up? The stadiums. I think the stadium is coming up. Never mind. But people like watch it on the news and they're like, oh no, the two water walls are going to meet, and then they meet, and it's like crash, like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nothing really happens, right? I mean,
for as much stuff happening without, the Earth axis tilting, we never really got a sense of what happened here. He devotes a lot of time to people filling stadiums to watch two waves of water rush together and then meet.
Yes. I would also I'm going to read this next thing, and before I do, you can pause if you want and just look at the picture of the author. And now I will read this. The 4 days were up. I changed parameters on the HAL program to slow down and stop Korea. Then I had a final powwow with San Woo. So, makes sense now that I just read his words, people. He's gonna have final powwow, which he misspelled. Even his his weird term is misspelled.
Is there supposed to be a hyphen?
He uses two W's. I think it's just
wow.
Anyway.
Well, hopefully San Woo is going to be opening the kimono as well. That's another old guy businessism. It says that she's doing all this, and so she's going to Pyongyang, I think. It says, I wouldn't need makeup. It's hard to look beautiful when you're staring down millions of people who were ordered to kill you, it's unintentionally hilarious. But then when she goes there, she says, no one knew where I was going or what I'd do when I got here. Steve had to be going nuts wondering what I was doing. And Steve is clearly watching his extras on his Boondock Saints DVD or something. He has just living large while she's gone with his trillions of dollars and doing whatever he can to live his bachelor life.
Here's, if you didn't know this about Steve, he too wanted nothing more than a quiet life, a regular job, the little house with a picket fence. What? Wow. An occasional night out at the movies. The American dream of secure comfort. Look what he got. What? First of all, that is not Steve in the least. He's extorting trillions from oil companies, isn't he? And he's the one opening the checks from the donations of people going thank you, we love you, Theresa. Here's all my life savings. And he's like, hey, babe. Some dude from Oklahoma just sent us $20,000. And she's like, yeah, put it in the account.
He's the one that was like, we wouldn't pick this up off the floor.
That's right. But also, all of this, didn't he married her knowing that a fox gave her omnipotence, right?
Yeah, I forget when that really came up, but I mean, she was famous for being a high school baseball player, so maybe he sort of intuited that was the case from those reports.
Did she mention the red dot in the middle of her head, like the reticle? That
I think at some point she had to reveal to him, and there was a little bit of I was worried he wasn't going to love me, but then he did, type of thing.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, that's Steve. Steve just wanted to lunch pail it the whole way and work at the shoe store.
It's wasn't he studying chemistry or something? It seemed like he had some decent ambitions.
Yes.
He didn't want to just bag groceries at night and come home to the white picket fence and just do that for 45 years and retire.
So she goes to, is it Pyongyang?
Yeah.
She goes to, the boulevard was the widest street I'd ever seen, easily 3 times as wide as the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The garbage Champs-Élysées, right?
Suck at Champs-Élysées.
Yeah. So there's a stadium, I think, right? And this is my Sonic challenge to you.
Oh, boy.
This is one of the toughest ones you'll ever have to do because you have to play multiple parts.
Oh, my God.
The millions cried out as one voice in a single unwavering sound. Half of them were wailing submissively like the 10 men outside my apartment because that's all they'd been trained to do for our dear leader all their lives, while the other half cheered joyously.
Wow.
So they were one voice, but half were doing one thing, half were doing the other, and the roar was deafening.
Okay, and there's millions. Okay.
Millions, but they cried out as one voice in a single unwavering sound. Half of them were wailing submissively. The other half were cheering joyously.
All right. I've never actually watched the videos of the Kim Jong funeral wailing, so I'll have to put my own spin on it. But
yeah, but only half of you is that. Half of the
sure.
millions. Okay. All right.
Theresa, dear lady, yeah, kick butt, Theresa.
Yeah, that
times 3 million.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was deafening. Okay. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Great. Yes. Sorry, everyone listening. Hopefully the limiter works. Curious to see what the auto subtitles YouTube will give that. We'll say for that section.
That is. So she goes to. This is where she makes a speech, right, at the stadium?
She gets on a balcony, the leader's balcony, where I assume is where the former dictator would address the people. And she's got something planned. I'm not sure when she decided she was going to do this, but she gets up there to address everybody, reads them the American Declaration of Independence that she has on a piece of paper. And it's
she reads, I'm assuming she only reads an excerpt of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't just like print that whole thing in the book. I mean, it's not
she just picks and chooses. Sure. She mixes it up. She slices and dices. She quotes. She paraquotes. She reads the entire.
It's printed for you right here. So I mean, if you ever if you need that for a school report or something, you already got Empress Theresa on the shelf. You can pull that down. No reason to buy your own copy of the multi-page spanning Declaration of Independence here in Norman Bouton's book.
What? So again, what is his? If this was his. It was all building to this, but like nothing else in it, points to the fact that, I mean, I guess there's a few breadcrumbs here and there of that this guy is this kind of a person who wants to quote the entire Declaration of Independence or whatever. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. And I don't know. Did she arrange a piece of plywood and somehow the Declaration came out? Like, what?
Was she trying to find a printer in Pyongyang? They're like, no, we got a pretty tight firewall here. Definitely not the Declaration of Independence is going to be something you can access for here.
It would just be like, what if she suddenly just got up and then did all the soliloquies of Macbeth or something? People would be like, I don't understand what is happening.
Right. Yeah.
But here people are just like, here my speech or the translator's rendition of it was a spectacular success. So no one hearing the translation was like, she's just reading the Declaration of Independence. What? The crowd cheered their hearts out. This guy, I don't know who this guy is or what he's doing. This is so bizarre.
How did the North Korean translator translate the line, accordingly all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer? I mean, probably someone did it somewhere in the past couple weeks for the July 4th celebration. Someone probably read the Declaration of Independence. It'd be funny to just pan across the crowd and just see when people tune out. When in the course of human events, let alone North Koreans who have absolutely no idea what you're talking about when they start to be like, oh boy, what's for lunch?
Yes, and the translator's trying to keep up as she's going, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce, he's probably going like, could you just hang on, let me...
You got to give you a second here. Yeah, was someone signing it at the same time where they're just like...
Yes.
But she does say, when I finished speaking, she read what I'd said in Korean with all the emotions and nuances only a Korea could express. So I think that's a pretty, if you were wondering, it's sort of like what the sensation would be like, I think that knowing that only a Korea could express it that way really hammers it home. It's a perfect way to express that.
That's incredible. So that's the end of that chapter.
That was called her greatest achievement. But we ain't seen nothing yet, I'll have you know, because in Chapter 6, things get even crazier.
Chapter 6, it begins with, there's an old English poem, says that there's a Newton or Da Vinci buried in every village graveyard. I didn't look that up, did you?
I did not. I just...
What is... I'd love to know if anyone knows what the poem is. I'm not very versed at poetry, so I don't have it off the top of my head. But then President Stinson holds a press conference and says this. Theresa is a genius, President Stinson said at a press conference. Everybody knows that. I didn't argue the point. What? She's a genius? What evidence do we have of this? She moves continents and then says, whoops, I forgot to put I'm supposed to move a mile of earth underneath it. Oh, I caused a tsunami in Tahiti. Sorry, whoopsie. What is this genius stuff? Where are we getting this?
She's a genius in Hal plywood studies, I assume. I'm sure she did okay in school. I never mentioned whether Hal was helping her study. She could just throw a baseball hard and accurately. So I'm not sure what she benefited for her then.
She's above average baseball player. That's what she's a genius. That one threw me. And then she's like, oh, guilty, I guess.
Yeah. What made me different was going after the difficult and with a little luck doing it. A little luck. You tilted the earth on its axis and somehow managed to rewrite it after people pointed out that it was going to blight every crop you had.
I told the people reunifying under the government of the South is the fastest and surest way to democracy and freedom. The South already has everything in place. People could see the wisdom of that. So everybody thinks being a dictator is hard. It's really not. It's the easiest thing in the world. You just tell the people what you're going to do, or I'll kill you or bury you under so much rubble that you can't even, I'll destroy your weapons and so just reunify. Oh, okay.
Shape up or I'll move your whole country without permission.
So I just told the people saw the wisdom of that.
What were we thinking? Wow, talk about 70 years down the drain. We should have done this yesterday.
Oh, man. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry about that whole threatening nuclear annihilation stuff. That was, we got ahead over our skis there. I thought, did this remind you of anything? It says... That was right after this, but it says, after 2 months in North Korea acting as a head of state figurehead. So it was very much like the guy from Harlem. So how did you become an African queen? Well, that's a very interesting story, film glitch. And so that's what happened.
So that's how I became. Hey.
Give us a small taste of what your 2 months in North Korea acting as a head of state figurehead were like. Just a little slice of life. Come on.
So she then gets interested in biology, right? Which leads to this. This is so great. From my 2 college biology courses, I learned these matters were about cells, DNA, and biochemistry. There was a difference between macro and microbiology. She had two courses before she married Steve Hartley, right?
Uh-huh.
So how did she fit in the 2 classes? She really only went for a semester, right?
The guys were following her to something, so I guess it was macrobiology and microbiology.
There's a difference between the 2.
You don't say. That's, wow.
That's what you learned.
Look, you questioned whether she was a genius or not, and I think that she's proven it just then.
It's true, yeah. Well, before she was quoting her... Didn't a professor say something about she had a professor that told her if you think that everything is material, then your own thoughts don't get outside of the material. That's what a professor told me anyway.
Oh, right. Yes, exactly.
So it's a self-defeating argument. It's a suicide statement. Okay, you had a class.
Speaking of suicide statements, I thought this could have been potentially led to some death. Steve was surfing the internet in the living room. Don't drink the glass of blue water on the table, I warned. It's my methyl blue experiment. Right. Cut to Steve looking like that guy who drank all the colloidal silver and turned to looking like Papa Smurf.
The blue guys. Isn't there's a I believe there is a Kentucky family that is blue. The blue people
you've sent me that before.
Yes.
Yeah. She turns around. Steve looks like Violet Beauregard. Steve, did you drink my methyl blue experiment? No.
Yeah, you making a new kind of Jell-O? I think we know that Steve only has one, maybe two uses for Jell-O. One would
shots
be
and wrestling.
Shots and wrestling, of course.
Yes, there we go. Hey, maybe this can be both. Maybe it's one you could wrestle in and then take shots out of. We can sell your Jell-O that you wrestled in, like selling your bathwater. It's perfect.
I do not endorse that kind of Jell-O.
Steven's probably well of that one too. And then so this whole thing with she thinks Hal turns water into Jell-O, and then she can use that to help save people's lives, like by using the biology of it. But then Steve talks her out of this, and the whole thing was just sort of, Steve's like, oh, there's too many lawsuits if you try to do that. People die for a reason. And then she's like, so it's like, you just wasted 3 pages of this book to bring this whole thing up, and then
I just
go in a different direction.
I just scanned it, and like I read it all and was just like, what a waste of the blue liquid stuff. She wants to save lives with, what is it, methyl blue?
Methyl blue? Yeah.
That's what you use to dye cells or something?
I guess
he must have had a job at a lab or something. And
cleaning test tubes.
Yeah, and like your job is to clean the methyl blue. Oh, I know what they do. Like, it doesn't matter, old man. Just clean the test tubes.
Yeah.
No, I read the book. You left it here overnight, and I read it. I know what it is.
Right. Goodwill Hunting kind of situation where it's like, oh, God.
Yes. So, yeah, that is endless, and it leads nowhere. And then it is followed almost immediately by the fanfic that we had from last time of Steve dumping a box. He goes to Yeshiva University Jewish Studies Department with a large cardboard box and dumps a bunch of scrolls on the table. To which they don't go, what are you doing? They go, oh, neat, cool, thanks, man.
It gives us the sentence, the Jewish world went nuts.
Oh, here it is. It's an ancient copy of Leviticus. Wow.
Yeah, the oldest document ever found. And then so Steve buys, because she's able to, I guess, pinpoint where these are using Hal as like a echolocation type of thing. It doesn't matter. Steve buys a failed supermarket and turns it into a cold storage area for all these other artifacts they're unearthing. And it says they're displaying like earthen jars. People come there, they weep because they're displaying the secrets of the early Hebrews before them. And here's some of the things that they're going to explain, that they're going to be able to know based on this information that has been lost for millennia. What did Moses do while a young man in Egypt? Mm-hmm. Was he in love with Pharaoh Seti's daughter? Sure, those things have been lost to history. Fascinating. Where did the story of the flood come from? One of the earliest, most universal things that have ever happened. What happened to Enoch? Where was the Red Sea parted? How long was a cubit?
Speaking of Bill Cosby.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Noah? What?
What's a cubit?
That might not be the most highly trafficked part of the exhibit, I'm guessing, is just how long was a cubit information.
I had forgotten that it was a grocery store that he bought? And then he
failed
built
grocery store, they say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he bought a failed supermarket 5 miles north of New York. Oh, that's where I hated this line so much. The equipment could keep the temperature at 40 degrees and the humidity at near zero. Hint, hint, hint. You're writing the book. You don't have to hint. What? And then built towers and stuff, like with machine guns on them or something. Impenetrable
secure
concrete wall and watchtowers. Okay, the machine guns was my idea, I admit.
Okay, sure. That's probably Steve's idea too. They probably talked him out of it.
Yeah, I would have put bows and arrows on it because anytime there's a column of water, I want to shoot an arrow into it. But anyway.
I think they might be overestimating how much your average guy would have a desire to sort of break in here and national treasure out the ancient scroll that tells you how long a cubit is. I think that might be Maybe more interested in stealing a, original Donkey Kong cabinet or something. It's probably something they're more of a heist.
So the disused grocery store is built into this place that stores the greatest archaeological find in history. Here it is. It was called the greatest archaeological find in history, outdoing the discovery of King Tut's tomb, which, while it provided interesting objects to look at, only provided a few pages of writing, all of it about Tut himself. Take that, King Tut, you piece of crap.
Yeah. Howard Carter getting the elbow off the top rope from Theresa. That's suck it.
Also, isn't it but that's just not true. Like, don't we all know? There's been nothing but stories and songs and fiction and movies about King Tut. Like, what are you talking about? King Tut. Yeah, a couple of dusty old documents about him. Otherwise, no one talks about him.
Yeah, it was
it's
like
the biggest, outside of the bodies exhibit, right? It's the most popular when it tours. It's like a rock star.
Untouched for millennia. No, never made off with vandals. Stuff that wasn't in any other pharaoh's tomb because they hadn't been robbed. So it's like a real fascinating look into how these pharaohs were buried thousands of years ago. But hey, how big is a cubit's pretty good too.
Only provided a few pages of writing. What is he talking about? What a weird... This guy's sitting alone by himself going, King Tut, I'll show you King Tut.
The author does have the tendency to things can't stand on their own. All her accomplishments have to demean someone else's, and usually something that he probably thinks he's smarter about. Yeah, you swine have heard about King Tut. Well, guess what? It actually sucks. So if I found something, it would be more important.
So she's done smearing King Tut. God, what a piece of crap. And then a poor, I think he's a classics professor, gets pulled out of nowhere. Lebert was entering his twilight years and had never done anything worth remembering outside the little circle of his fellow professors.
God.
He's sitting here, man.
Yeah,
after saying that he knew 7 languages, including ancient French and...
Yeah,
he never
classics
did anything.
Professor. I've shepherded 12 grad students through this. I've educated the next generation. It's all I wanted to do with my life.
Oh wait, no, he knew Latin, Old English, Old French, as well as all the history of the period. And she summons him to come and for this next thing, which is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, didn't expect it coming, and I wouldn't have believed it if it was fanfic. But they go to a church on the eastern edge of Middle Ages London. They bring the French president along with them and a bunch of French dignitaries. They sort of burst in the door of this church. They give the church pastor came up, and Steve gave him a check for $10 million, which you have to imagine is one of those novelty-sized lottery winner checks. Steve insisted on that,
and he's like, "Gentlemen, ladies, please, this is a holy place. Get out of here!" Which he, obviously chased them out and tore up their check in front of them. No, that's the only mention of it. He's like, "Ooh, all right, thanks."
Yeah, they don't even say why. And then as soon as he takes it, they just burst through the door with jackhammers and, huge caterpillar diggers. And
he's like, "Our capital campaign is a success this year."
There is a wedding here tonight, so if you could get the floor back to not being a pile of rubble by 6 p.m., the bride would appreciate it. But
I also like the nice round numbers for the $10 million.
Sure, of course.
Pastor.
Isn't that exactly the amount that they gave to Arthur when they were like, "We wouldn't even pick this up if it was, covered in dog crap on fire"?
I think so. So they jackhammer the floor, and then under the floor, they lift a cubic foot box made of bronze, and then the French president comes up, and they pull this box out, and they remove the box, and then Lebert, this guy hasn't done crap,
wasted his life,
of garbage. Latin, Old French. Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. How big is a cubit? You can't even tell me.
He comes down and looks at this box that they've jackhammered onto the floor of a church they paid $10 million for. Tears were streaming down his face as he checked the papers. He pointed out a name in the papers to me and whispered, "Oui, c'est certain pour des chances d'un autre." So what he said was, yes, for certain, that is certain, someone else has bad luck.
Huh.
So I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah. I didn't bother translating.
I think what he meant to say was, it can be no one else, but he didn't know how to translate it,
right? Right, sure.
But what he actually said was, bad luck will come to another or someone else. So I don't think that's what he meant to say. I think he meant to say, it can be no other, I think.
Maybe Norman Boutin should have consulted with Professor Labarre. That could have been getting his translations right then.
I would have thought Boutin would have spoken French, but he did not do it correct. I don't think, unless I don't know what he's saying then, if he's saying someone else has bad luck. Who else? I don't know. Anyway.
And so what they're excited about and why his tears are streaming down his face is because she has found a skull and a handful of black hair, and it is Joan of Arc. They have found her grave. I guess that was always just is unknown. So this is a major discovery. It says there was total bedlam in the church. I couldn't keep track of what every person in a crowd of 500 was doing and can't describe the reactions. Use your imagination.
So
more authors should try this technique, I think.
Perfectly preserved little girl, black hair. Sorry, so it's a girl.
Yes.
Labarre cried like a little girl.
Okay.
This Labarre guy, I don't know. Never done anything. He's weeping. Tears are streaming down his face. Then he's crying like a little girl. I don't like this guy.
Yeah. Could he maybe find a better professor to do this? I don't know.
It is, of course, Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc, and bedlam in the church. So I guess there were people in there. I guess you were allowed to be near
500 people. She said it fit 500 people, and they packed it to its gills as they were doing this. Probably was pretty loud when they're doing the jackhammers.
Yeah, she said 190 decibels.
Yeah, they had they brought ear protection for everybody.
Yes.
But then they expound upon this, which is helpful for those of us who only know her from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But she goes, without Joan, there was no independent France, no Europeans, nations, interactions as we know them, no Christopher Columbus, no new world as we know it, and no United States of America. Something else would be on the North American continent, and probably not as good. And then it gives quotes from Churchill and Mark Twain talking about how important Joan of Arc was.
The church was in danger of floating away in the sea of tears from the French people.
Wow.
So this is...
I mean, yeah, I think if you discovered it tomorrow, people would be like, it'd be interesting. And most people would be like, that's great. How does this affect me?
How does this...
I've heard of her, sure.
First of all, I haven't slept in months because the earth has been tilted on its axis.
Permanent daylight.
But it was said that, like, then they go on for page after page about how it is Joan of Arc because, what was it? The
cranial
British,
fissures?
They tried to bury her, but then they were like, oh, and they thought they threw her in the river, but they're like, no, they couldn't. They buried the whatever at... So she wasn't burnt. I don't know. There's a big explanation for it.
Yeah, and I was hoping it was going to be one of those, oh, I hadn't thought of that, when it was like, well, this is clearly just, Lord Chiserton's daughter or something from 1700s. Like, whoops, sorry to call everybody here. Sorry, Labarre.
So anyway, it ends with her, like, the French love her more than they've loved Lindbergh. I mean, they just, like, hugs and everything, which I would think, like, why would they know that she did it? Like, wouldn't you just be
sure?
Like, maybe I'd hug the guy who jackhammered the floor open. I don't know.
Any more of those $10 million checks is my question.
People are weeping and just like lifting her on her shoulders and like, oh my God, this is just fantastic. And that was her archaeology. And then it just goes, there's a hard carriage return. There was one other thing I planned on doing that had high visibility. The International Olympic Committee. That was the biggest whiplash.
Oh,
wait,
yeah,
she's in a French church. She's like got giant headphones on with help. She's got earplugs and she's got eyes and ears on, right?
She's
like
got a fistful of hair, of 500-year-old hair.
Got a bag of papers proving that it's the corpse. And she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I swung by the IOC.
Yeah, that's when it just became Forrest Gump all of a sudden. Like, what else can I do? What else has probably been on my TV? There was probably a History Channel about Joan of Arc, and then the guy saw the Winter Olympics starting in the year that he wrote this, and that was what happened. And I'd like to remind everyone that at this point we have less than 30 pages left in the book, and we are working towards the spaceship coming down with her and Steve and 400 prepubescent children with hormone stunted wearing colored armbands. We got to get there from here. So that's where we're headed. You could wonder how that will tie into everything as we solve the problem of there not being a Winter Olympics this year.
So this was also part of real or fanfic, right? Where she makes a new mountain, right? North of Chicago.
Yes, because
this is what she says. Reducing the Earth's declination to 5 degrees had been a wonderful benefit for the world, but it was a disaster for the ski industry. The American ski slopes were put out of business altogether. A few European resorts could operate on their highest slopes. I like that this is less than a footnote in the massive unintended consequences. Like, when entire industries are put out of business, that's not a... And then like, oh yeah, well, we put them out of business. In Europe, their ski hills, I don't know, a few of them could operate.
A few, yeah. But, a luxury activity, not something that anyone, if it disappeared tomorrow, people would be very disappointed, but no one needs to do this in the same way that the massive crop failures that she was trying to ward off would have an impact.
But this is just one of the things, like, can you imagine how many hundreds of thousands of things have changed? Like how the Earth is different, how every aspect of every person's life is completely altered by this. And she's like, whatever. Steve went back to playing his video game.
Yes, if it was in a simulation and you could just like zoom in as much as you can, be like, how did this guy's life change? It's every single aspect of it is differently. Like, think about how, the plumbing stopped working in his house because the gravity of the Earth was different from being slid. And the mental illness brought on by the 24-hour daylight. And the industry of blackout curtains was now a $1 trillion industry. Anyway.
Children's learning was stunted for years afterwards because schools were closed. It was a real or fanfic, but she makes a mountain, and then people are absolutely, again, so excited that she's going to combine the Olympics, summer and winter Olympics.
She says, people, and she's building them in Chicago, and she says people are going to quit their jobs to watch the spectacle of me building this mountain in the middle of Lake Michigan. So all those newly formed silversmithing jobs quickly abandoned so that people could watch a mountain rise out of the sea.
And then Steve, I believe this is Steve, says, every resort will be owned and operated by a corporation, but Theresa will own 55% of the shares. If she doesn't like what the corporation is doing, she'll step in and kick butt. So, our heroine, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Yes.
We're supposed to be happy about this.
Private businesses. Yeah, that's him reading the riot act to the IOC, which I really, really liked the image of that.
Wow.
And so she's built a mountain that is, I think, 25,000 feet high in the middle of Lake Michigan. And the simultaneous Olympics and 70 ski resorts. And then they say, all right, the snow came onto your Lake Michigan mountain faster than anyone could have predicted. And she goes, so much for scientific experts, with no question of stability or like avalanche, any of these things.
No, there's no
They
question.
want her to go They aren't able to install the lift yet. I don't know how can do that. That's clearly going to take a while. But they want to test out the mountain. And we get this stunning sentence. Since neither of us had any experience in skiing, we opted for one-man bobsleds. Which are, famously driven on man-made tracks in the Olympics in a very sort of hyperly engineered way, so they don't go flying off. But so they have experience with one-man bobsleds. Then is implied by them taking that instead of the skiing, which they have no experience on.
Well, when you were in college, remember you had to take one. You had to take
PE credit.
PE. So most guys that I knew took bowling,
yeah, right.
Because there was a lane down, in our student union or whatever, or golf. Like I already golf, so whatever. This pattern is getting tiresome, by the way. I thought about that while the officials figuratively bit their nails. This is her in front of the IOC. Okay, I'll do it. The room was filled with cheers. And then, quoting her again, are you ready for this? I am negotiating with the IOC to make Chicago host to a combined simultaneous Summer and Winter Olympics. The audience rose to their feet and set new decibel records.
Man.
This beat that he does, I hate it so much.
Yeah, everyone's just universally praising. And we've already
had where she goes.
And the sound that was louder than Krakatoa was the waves hitting when they combined North and South Korea. So is this decibel record she set here louder than that, which beat Krakatoa?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then she read the entire Declaration of Independence to the Pyongyang Stadium, and they all...
It's because he got fooled by that email forward of, that student was Albert Einstein, the guy that, and then that ends with everybody applauded. I think that's probably where he got that trope from. Everybody laughed, everyone applauded.
Yes. So then they, do they bobsled? No, they take a helicopter up to their...
The helicopter takes them up to 24,000 feet. I just did some research. Everest Base Camp, 18,000 feet. 26,000 feet is known as the death zone, where the pressure of oxygen is insufficient to sustain human life. So, I mean, no mention of any of that as they're doing this idea of hers, which is to build, I guess that's how high it had to be to get snow in the permanent summer. Just seems like a flaw.
When the invasion of Afghanistan, they had to take helicopters up the mountain, and that was always the helicopter pilots were like, once you're past, there's no air up there, so the blades will just fall out of the sky and we'll all die, which happened to like half of them or whatever.
Jeez.
So that's what but while they're up there doing this death-defying feat, Steve says, we should build a house up here. Oh, I joke. And Steve said, it'll be hell on the mailman. Steve.
Nobody applauds or laughs to that one is not addressed, so I think you're led to believe how that one went over.
Please clap.
And then they do it. They bobsled down the hill in their individual bobsleds where the hill was steep. Okay. We used the brakes to keep our speed down to something reasonable, like 60 miles an hour. Any faster than that would be suicidal. Most of the time, we just let the sleds go free. It was a thrilling experience. The total distance down was something like 12 miles. Wow, what a ride. The skiers had something to look forward to. There was a food market a block from our New York apartment. A little bit of Andy Rooney game there. But they rocket down the hill in a bobsled at 60 miles an hour. That's the reasonable thing. They've never driven this before, and this is an ungroomed mountain. Not worth nitpicking his realism at this point in time, but it was pretty incredible.
Oh, that's why they wore the every square inch of our skin was covered with impermeable material to protect against the severe wind chill effect as they flew down the mountains.
Yeah, I'm sure it's negative 60 up there. And you can't breathe, so...
Yeah, there's no air. She's a monster, by the way. I think we can all agree on that. And here's my evidence for it. The Secret Service had kept every president alive since Kennedy. I was even more important. You can always get another president. there was only one me. My
God.
God, she's a monster.
I
This is like Idi Amin. I mean, name any horrible, horrible genocidal dictator. Stalin.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is horrible. What?
I mean, didn't she call herself the right hand of God there? So that's the ego. I thought the Secret Service had kept every president alive since Kennedy was a deeply funny way to phrase their track record. Like, winners of every war since before Vietnam. Like,
no accidents in the shop since.
Wait, what did you say?
No accidents in this shop since
exactly
days since last decapitation.
I got to change that number. Like, yeah, but it's like, well, how many presidents have there been? 10 since then? That's 90%. That's not as good as you'd think. And they also, because she's mentioning that because of all the assassins that she says are there hasn't been a single opportunity to illustrate that. She just says there were thousands of assassins and just never even had like one demonstrated, in a way that would be entertaining or interesting. It was just like, there was always lurking. They never impacted anything.
No, I think he forgets about it. He says they would make a circle around me to frustrate any sharpshooters who might be. Sharpshooters, I believe, is a Civil War term. But that's fine, old man. Anyway, so I didn't realize that they were connected. She's crossing a street. This is almost unbelievable. And she gets hit by a car.
Yes.
Now, this happens, as we know from this happens all the time. Everybody drives by a horrible accident thousands of times. So this is just normal stuff. But the terrorist hits her and paralyzes her.
To his credit,
I'm not laughing at that. It's just like, what?
Oh, it's very fun. It's very funny. A Middle Eastern terrorist had someone helping him get the timing just right. He phoned your movements to the car driver, and the driver got in the position. They must have tried it a dozen times to get the timing perfect. So I'd just say another black mark on the Secret Service's record. Then, like, set that sign you mentioned, 0 days since last massive failure on our part, because it says you'll be a while. Your back is broken. She's paralyzed. She'll never walk again.
The explanation, though, is because she wakes up in the hospital, and "Hi, hon," said Steve, trying to sound cheerful. To avoid the bad news, I asked, "What was his beef?" So he was David Letterman talking to Jay Leno in 1983. Wow. Jay, what's your beef? Well, I got to tell you, Dave. Some Middle Eastern terrorist came across the street and hit me.
Oh, yeah. And so once again, maybe 23 pages left in the book at this point in time. Still has a UFO full of children to get to. And she was just paralyzed for life.
The doctors say won't walk again. I broke down and cried. This time I had good reason and didn't have to hide it. I had a long cry to get it all out. So
good. You got that out.
This doesn't speak well of me, but I did laugh loud at that.
It was incredible. Again, I'm thankful that there people were savvy enough and considerate enough not to submit things like this for real or fanfic, because it's great to have some of these surprises to get to. Well, speaking of how a old perv would think about this, the loss I'd suffered at age 19 had no consolation. I cried every day. I don't have to mention the effect on my married life.
Oh, gosh.
It was like being a corpse. I cried every day. So Hal can not intervene here? I thought she was doing that thing with the colloidal silver. She was going to cure every disease or something, but who knows?
Doesn't the president calls her and she's like, maybe Hal can rebuild my molecules one at a time.
She says I might be able to copy some other girl's spinal cord and rebuild my nerves. So you could really tell she did take those 2 biology classes.
So if I could get a couple sheets of plywood in the old hospital room here, get some magic markers and some dowel rods and a 2-foot
Get her some chess pieces.
Tube.
She'll need chess pieces.
Yeah.
God. And then what she says is she's going to get Hal to stop her aging. I'll get Hal to squeeze out 5% of the fluid from my cells once in a while. So it sounds like she's starting to undertake those experiments that that weirdo who hooked up things to measure his and his son's night boners or was doing, that anti-aging weirdo. So she needs to get in touch with him.
Yeah, that guy. What did he sell? He sold some company, and so then he turned into Howard Hughes or something, like stapling his urine to a wall and bags or something.
That's where she's headed for this. Like, get Hal squeezing things out of her fluid. She's going to be putting her blood into centrifuges like Tour de France racers.
Yes. Lying in ditches with bags of their own blood in the Pyrenees. All right. So chapter 27, right? Is next.
Yeah, it goes from her in a hospital bed trying to squeeze fluid out of her cells to something much weirder.
This is so bizarre. And this is, I think, Norman Bouton going, all right, how many pages are we at? 378 or whatever. I'd better crash this thing into a pole.
100%.
So he has a bunch of white spheres hovered over eastern Massachusetts.
Imagine that as the opening line of a book. 204 white spheres hovered miles over eastern Massachusetts. Could have started here.
Yeah. If this were Dan Brown, that would be an entire chapter, and then it would cut to 2,000 miles away. The hottest woman in the world was just wriggling into a bikini.
Her boyfriend Steve chugged a thing of olive oil, washed his head in a drinking fountain. But no, it does get that. It goes, President Stinson called her. Theresa, are you watching what's happening in Boston? No, what is it? Hundreds of white spheres are moving towards the city. Oh, crap.
I hung up on the president. Steve, come here. What's up, babe?
Yeah, no mention of what they were doing when she just gets a phone call from the president who thinks she's watching what's happening in Boston. So it's evidently been happening for a while.
So the spheres are going into people, right?
They're merging with people like Hal from the Fox.
And then I'm just reading it. This is my note from the time. Now I have read to the end, so I know. But I began to cry. No worse disaster could be imagined than having hundreds of people infested with Hals. And I was like, what is she afraid of? That they might not be as wonderful and perfect as her? That is, of course, precisely what that's
Okay, good. Well, nicely called.
Because I'm like, what? Why would she? It's been a benefit to the world, right? It's everything she's done has been wonderful. So if other people have it, wouldn't she be like, great? All right.
Yeah, but what if the wrong kind of people get access to Hal? That's the real question here.
But she just immediately says, like, oh my God, this is a absolute catastrophe, disaster beyond anything we could have possibly imagined. Why would you think that?
Yeah.
If you're infested with Hal, and you've made the world, you've improved. Like, it's endless summer.
I know, but she's a virtuous right hand of God. What if you get some sleazy used car dealer who's just going to be like, no, I want all the diamonds.
I guess when the author's his overall theory is that other people besides me are pieces of garbage, I guess this makes sense. But that's not what you're thinking. Like, why wouldn't you assume, like Rousseau, that everyone's an angel, and then right, and that so if they get the Force, like, great, I'm sure they'll be as wonderful as me. Why would you assume that they're going to use it for bad?
Yeah, I mean, there could be some people who are like, I'm going to undo what she did, but I think it is what the author was viewing. Like, that's why he keeps telling people to drop dead and, like, you don't like this, go to hell. Like, it's just my way of thinking it is the way to go, and everyone else is a moron who's going to misuse this.
I found it bizarre, but then, okay, so then here's the solution. I forget who's talking, but it's a bunch of people tossing around theories. It was probably from Theresa's Hal. When she was nuked, it must have been a trigger for Hal to divide himself. One of them stayed with Theresa, and the others wandered off to find somebody else to infect. New person. But that was nearly 2 years ago. What's 2 years to something that's been around billions? Why not just say, like, unicorns did it? Like, what? you're just making shit up. Like,
yeah.
This is absolute blues. It's like saying maybe it was because he owned a magic marker. And if you owned a magic marker, you sure would want to divide yourself, right? Like, what?
Yeah.
What
no one has ever
about?
used Occam's razor in this thing. It has always been the opposite of that. It is think of something absolutely absurd, and then, yes, that is correct, and we'll all accept it and move forward thinking it is fact.
It was from when they nuked her? And then Hal divided himself? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Hal getting nuked when the atom bomb went off. It was like a supernova. Hal started to divide. By the time his host, but this time his host was still around. Theresa was in the water. One Hal attached herself to her and put her in a deep sleep. The other Hal's just drifted off looking for Massachusetts. So I don't know why it took them so long to get there. I assume they are moving at the speed of light, right? They've traveled from space.
Anyway. It doesn't make any sense. To me, this whole part of like them trying to figure out why there are a bunch of Hals is like watching stone people argue, whether we're part of a computer simulation or not.
Sure, yeah.
Theresa's Hal couldn't be the only one in the universe. There must be trillions everywhere. They had a snowball's chance in hell of finding Earth. They have to reproduce themselves somehow. Blair said, I assume the death of the host would signal the time to reproduce. What are you talking about?
Blair, you thought that? You have a country to run. What? You're sitting around with plywood at the British mansion for a while. How does that inform your thinking here?
It is just bizarre the way they speculate, and then they all go, yep, that's the solution. That's for sure what we're talking about here. Like, that is what you just said is the worst answer anyone could give. No, you're dead wrong. That is an awful, awful explanation. So let's figure it out. Let's not. But that is no to that. Well, right. How do you know unless you know everything? Like, I just know that's wrong. That is wrong.
No one has ever been wrong about Hal in this book, I think, which is fairly remarkable considering it's nonverbal, non-terrestrial, and godlike powers. So it's crazy that people are able to intuit what it wants, needs, and does so well.
So then what is their solution? They...
Deep sleep.
No, I know that that's the ultimate solution, but they... Steve went looking for me. I'd pulled myself on the bed and was thinking, we had already decided on a desperate last resort plan if the Hals couldn't be controlled. Are you going to do it? Steve asked. Yep, there's no choice. When you have all the money in the world, you can buy properties in remote places under fake names. We'd already done so for the day when we just wanted to get away. So they do that. So they're like, okay, they're doing the James Bond, like faking their own death and leaving. We disappeared.
Steve is clearly using Ron Mexico or Carlos Danger as one of his aliases.
We disappeared. Nobody knew where we were. Carriage returned. A tanker from Theresa's island was crossing the Indian Ocean. Again, the Andy Rooney game.
Oh,
what?
Whiplash.
And so, yes, this is everyone on the tanker. A plane comes. Everybody's going unconscious. Theresa is putting the world into deep sleep. That's the end of the chapter.
Yeah. The president states that to her staff, and they had already tried. She had tried to put like one Marine volunteer who got infested with the Hal into deep sleep, but it didn't work. But I guess she figured out how. There's no explanation of how or why, but it did mention for that. She's like, I wheeled into the room to see the Marine, and that was the only mention of her actually being in a wheelchair, which I thought was pretty funny because it sort of doesn't impact anything. The fact that she's paralyzed from the waist down from here on out.
So chapter 28.
Chapter 28. I believe this is the
it's the final chapter.
Okay,
there's,
wow.
There's a
right.
lot in this chapter. It's a big one.
Yes, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of things happen, and it really, we'll cover it when we get to it, but it really is, like you said, running it into a poll is the best way to explain it, being like, well, I got to put this out somewhere. I told the local guys down at the Moose Lodge that I drink with that I'm writing a book, and they started to be like, when are we going to see this thing? So I need to get it out there.
Yes. And obviously there's no discernible plot. I mean, there's a character. I guess there's a couple characters. There's Prime Minister Blair, and there's Steve, and there's Empress Theresa. But
right.
what they're doing is just like it's not going toward anything. It's not. There's no plot. So yes, he's just like, well, I've written enough things that she could do, things that bug me. But here's another thing that I got a beef about here.
Yeah, and then he did the thing of starting off at 11, like you said, with the stakes, which is everyone on Earth is going to die because of famine. And by the end, he's like just doing stuff with the Olympics or unearthing Cubit relics. So sort of probably the reverse way of how it should have gone.
So she dominates the news because of her disappearance. People, once again, I dominated the news 24 hours a day because people didn't know where she was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that, but I guess if she was always on the lookout for sharpshooters, I suppose. That is true. And then the president is like, look, man, it's clear what's going on. She's putting people to sleep. She's putting the world into deep sleep to arrest any activity of the other HALs and their hosts until she can find a way to control them. This is a reasonable course to take. Look, you don't want to start the Ukrainian famine, but if you want to, you omelets, eggs, people, you got to do some stuff.
Yeah, you're being, this is a reasonable course to take, the only one that will rescue us from a political and social nightmare we can't even describe. Everyone being put to sleep against your will, nothing like any sort of political or social nightmare.
Will me or my child be hitting their heads as they, maybe, but.
We don't know. Try not to.
Who knows? Just don't. Okay.
She says that. She says, my advisors tell me when the deep sleep comes near, you are advised to sit or lie down. What will it feel like when the deep sleep is coming near us? I'm unsure. It hasn't happened to me yet, so I can't describe it. So, but don't drive and don't, handle anything sharp, and don't do anything until it comes. It's incredible. Until you get gassed.
Right. That's her speech, yes. And she says, that's what Jack and I will do. Is that the first mention of Jack?
It must be the first mention of the first gentleman. Yeah. Wow. And
what Theresa's doing is not without risk.
There was a Jack. Jack Coster was Mr. Fast Move, who betrayed her by dating Ginny back at the beginning of the book. He could have been Steve. But so yeah, there must have been a Jack in his life. I mentioned two different characters.
So the president ends her speech to. The whole world has to deal with this, so I don't know if she's just talking to the U.S., I guess. I want to commend everybody for remaining calm in this troubled time. I guess we're going to assume that people are remaining calm. I certainly wouldn't. I believe
this everyone handled the pandemic. We can assume that everyone will remain calm.
I believe this comes from Theresa's sterling character. We know she will take care of us.
God.
Where are you getting that? It's utterly insane. It is like I don't even like the word, but this is gaslighting on a scale that can't even be described. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Her character, she's threatened to murder us all. She owns 55% of every ski resort on the planet.
Yeah, she hasn't redistributed any of her wealth. She's buying countries under fake names, she just said. Like
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's her speech. Is like, look, just trust her. Just fall asleep. Will we die when we fall asleep? I don't know. Maybe. But stop whining because Theresa's got us, what?
For someone who just liberated North Korea from, all time up there cult of personality, just to then go and say her sterling character and laud these platitudes for her is remarkably unself-aware. How about this, though? After the president did that speech, Prime Minister Peter Blair went on television and summed up the situation. Even if we found Theresa, we couldn't stop her. And I don't believe we should want to. Do you want to see 100 unstoppable Adolf Hitlers in the world? It's one or the other, man. You're either going to... Hal infects you, and you're either going to be the god Empress Theresa or Hitler.
So that's it. Like everyone else so only she gets to have Hal?
Yeah.
It's like if someone, I got my teeth done and now I look great. And then someone else gets their teeth done. You're like, come on, man. I'm the one who gets the,
Yeah.
Why are you? So everyone else is Hitler, but you? That's
It's
what
the
he's
Sneetches,
saying.
Stars upon the R's ain't the way to go. We need to Hal's or not. Yeah, it's incredible. It talked about how one guy who was Hal picked up a Cadillac to show his Hal strength. That guy was definitely going to turn into Hitler.
So she's deep sleeping the world, and it will take, 18 days?
18 days, it will cover the Earth. And
Yes.
It already has started, I guess, because it covered India and Africa, etc.
Well, yeah, that oil tanker, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of her oil tankers. Which, by the way, this guy is really obsessed with oil tankers. Gordon Lightfoot. I mean, it's sad that he's dead because he would have so many songs to write.
So many ballads, yeah.
So many ballads about the one that sank, but also then the one that just like froze and disappeared because everyone fell asleep on it.
Oh yeah, the one that that got rammed by the terrorists too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, songs to be written about that. Yeah, but Theresa. So wait,
they pretty much just blah 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 over. The president goes to sleep and then wakes up the next sentence. Jack
she wakes up and
asleep.
she goes like, "Oh, Jack is dead." Jack, her husband.
Oh right, yeah. A strong character. We were all familiar with him. I don't know why I spaced on who Jack might be. How silly of me.
The first gentleman is dead as far as we know. We just met him and now he's dead. I mean, no time to weep. He's dead. She raced to the door and opened it. 2 Secret Service men were outside. Jack is dead. And here's the explanation. No, ma'am. People are waking up randomly. You were first. He'll come around one of these days. So she goes for a briefing, and this is incredible. I'll let you take this next plot.
Okay. Yeah. So she goes, then tells her what's going on. And I assume you wanted me to read this particular sentence, but it says, yeah, people have been waking up one by one in random order for 3 weeks. It's being done in a manner that makes sense. First, with the people in critical infrastructure areas such as power plants, water supply, and other services need to be operated in order before everyone else came to. Then the police stations were targeted. Then the fire stations. Now, adults of every kind are being randomly aroused. So maybe that guy who was measuring the night boners is weighing in on that. So, and then they give her this: how many people are awake? 40%. Most of the young ones are still asleep. The astronomers say 600 years have passed.
You can't. Come on.
It's the 3-body problem all of a sudden. We've leapt forward 600 years. I'm not clear why. I guess that was what they needed to do to wipe out all the extra Hals.
Yes, and what would be your reaction? I mean, obviously this is the Twilight Zone or something where like, you're awake. Good to see you. 600 years have passed, and then, horror, and then the end of it. No, President Stinson was astonished. Good, that's the Twilight Zone. The staffers were amused to see her reaction. So the 600 years to them, like, I think it's kind of funny. Like 600 years is a pretty funny amount of time to have been in a deep sleep.
They've been awake for 2 days. They've like driven around. They've seen how everything is overgrown. They've seen that wolves have overtaken downtown Manhattan again. There's like dinosaurs are back. That's weird. That they really came back in 600 years. So they are amused based on her. It's like the first time I was in an earthquake in Southern California, and people were like, "First time, huh?" And I'm like, "You're not used to this. Come on,
it's not." Come on, you just snuff out your cigarette next to me. First time getting killed by an earthquake. Yes, and guys are rafting around on the water, growing their own gills and drinking their own urine because it's 600 years later.
Of course, yeah.
But the staff is amused by it.
They go on to say that she has talked to all the other Hals. Their Hals have disappeared. They don't have super strength or throwing accuracy, so future Hitlers have been eliminated. Mm-hmm. Not to mention thousands of new drugs to treat every disease. So they've done the Armada thing of curing cancer and all other diseases in one sentence. A few more changes. The South Pole has been eliminated, except for a few small islands. Greenland has been cut up into many pieces and moved south. The ice is gone, and nothing can ever change ocean levels. The salt content of seawater has been reduced by half. It multiplies marine life and keeps bacteria under control. This is a lot for your first briefing, man. We should probably let you, take a trip to Walmart, get some groceries. You're going to need some groceries. We'll fill you in on this tomorrow.
I'm up to speed. I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, she broke up Greenland. Cool. I have no questions. And reduced the seawater by half, the salinity. Huh, sure. I guess she knows what she's doing.
She actually says, what else has been going on? That's what the President of the United States says to her.
After waking up after 600 years.
So President Stinson says this. I find this, what the hell is going on? Theresa was never that popular with many people. She wasn't cool, hip, or totally awesome. Do I date myself? What people don't understand is the cool, hip, totally awesome don't have millions of lives and don't save millions of lives and change the world. Theresa did. What is she talking? Like, this would be like nonsense to people, right? She was never popular. She dominated the news 24 hours a day, every second of every day that she ever lived on Earth. What are they talking about?
Cheering throngs of millions, like imagine if you go and like to any major like urban area where they have vendors for tourists and stuff, you'll probably see Bob Marley, maybe Marilyn Monroe, Taylor Swift, Tupac type of things. She obviously would have had just prayer candles, crappy bootleg shirts, tapestries sold of her everywhere. Of course she was popular. Like, what the hell?
She would be appearing in tortillas, like, come on. And toast and stuff would be sold. What are you talking about? She was never popular with many people?
I'm coming out of 600 years of deep sleep. I'm still a little foggy. Sorry. That's...
You made her a 5-star general, and all the other generals cheered. She was mostly hated. What are you talking about?
She wasn't cool, hip, or totally awesome. She wasn't batical or bodacious or tubular. She wasn't gnarly. I'm the President of the United States. And she's saying this because she looks around and she's like, it's been 600 years. She didn't put herself into sleep. She must be dead, right? And they're like, sadly, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she's dead.
And then she toasts her and says she was the greatest person who ever lived and was infallible. Then we get one more whiplash. A 400-foot long, 100 feet wide flying object is headed towards to DC from the South Pole.
Yes, the flying coffin, as it is called.
Okay.
I think that's what they call it.
Spider coffin, perhaps?
Yes, yeah, because it's huge and it's flying. Well, when the president woke up, she learned the flying coffin was over Cuba. That, by the way, the president said, wake me up if anything happens. There's a giant ship.
What else is going on? Oh, flying coffin, huh? How the Yankees doing?
So the flying coffin eventually lands, so they just kind of track it.
They say,
at this
she
point,
says,
it's like, how is he going to crash this thing? And I know what's going to happen. So anyway.
Yeah, I believe there are 4 pages left in the book at this point, just for anyone who wasn't reading along. But she says, Martin worried this would happen, and it happens to me. The landlords are coming for the rent. I'm supposed to have the check. Prime Minister Blair said it. Better to be a fisherman than a governor of men. Ma'am, I do not think that you have fully recovered from this 600 years of sleep. You are not making a lick of sense. Why don't you just sit down, take a nap next to Jack? Vice President's got it.
So the flying coffin goes to the mall near the Lincoln Memorial by the Capitol building, and it lowers down. It landed with a dull thump. Nothing more happened, and then it opens up, right?
It opens a door, and Veronica Stinson stepped up to a microphone on the steps of the Capitol to welcome the landlords. What are you talking? It's too late to question what you're talking about, but how did that become something that you're referring to them as?
1.5 million people had gathered. And by the way, I'm going to point out this typo because Steve steps out right this way.
Nice.
So it's so awesome. Here's the typo. When the noise downed down,
down, down, down, down, down, be down.
Yeah, normally, again, typos, not a big deal. But you know what? I don't like you, so I'm going to point out this typo. When the noise downed down, take that, Bhutan.
And so this is the
speaking idiot. Sorry.
This is the part that was in the realer fan fiction.
Yes.
They've emerged from her and Steve have emerged from this. I don't know if she's walking or not. Unclear. He might have forgotten that she's paralyzed from the waist down.
He probably did.
But I mean, they are accompanied by 300 to 420 children, most of them twins and triplets, wearing various armbands.
Yes.
And what Steve says once he downed down is words he'd been waiting hundreds of years to speak.
Yes.
You should see our bathroom. The crowd roared.
600 years for a dad joke from Steve.
Oh, so yeah. Here we go. I think that this is worth reading just out loud. This next, it's like a couple paragraphs, but I think it's important. And just interject whenever you see fit. This is Steve talking. Mm-hmm. We figured out the physics of the HALs. Theresa's HAL has absorbed all the other HALs and will absorb any other HAL that comes in from space. When Theresa dies, HAL will merge with the Earth and never do anything again. And also, they have neutered these children. Oh, I've kept them in a pre-puberty state so they wouldn't fool around with each other. Ugh. Deeply weird, not addressed again. I believe they are all brother and sister, too, because I think they're all their children. So I guess she was able to give birth despite being paralyzed waist down. I guess.
And by the way, they all had my nearly black, very dark brown hair. You're probably using too many words there, but whatever. Okay.
No, right. He stepped to the side and I advanced to the microphone. Don't be fooled by our children's appearance. They're older than Methuselah, and they all have the equivalent of 100 college degrees. They know what works. We enter new eras, but the old laws still rule.
What does that mean? What does they know what works means?
They know what works.
Just let them be your presidents and stuff like that, or let them move land masses around.
It sounds like a politician's empty promise. Hey, look, I know what works. Like, hey, he knows what works. Like that works.
Now he's talking my language. Let me open another 6-pack.
They know what works. It's like plumbing. I mean, Steve said your bathroom's a mess, but anyway. Now that we're back, we will age like everybody else. Where have you been? What?
Why did you? My husband
How did you not
dead.
Age? Yes. Jack hasn't even woken up yet. Neither have most children. How did you reproduce like rabbits over these 600 years? Like, are you okay? Like, Steve and I don't want to outlive our children. We will age too. So they are all their children. We've been saying goodbye to them for years. With all the things they'll be doing, there won't be enough for quality time in the little time remaining to us. We give our children to the world. Take good care of them. Farewell and be kind to each other. The people moved in to meet the children. Steve and I were smiling. Our work was done. The end.
What? What? Do you have any idea what this means?
I mean, so
we enter. I think what they're saying is like, look, our kids are going to be your rulers. Mm-hmm. Just like Theresa, you don't want to cross these little dudes. They're old. You think they're young? No, they have 1,000 degrees. You are stupid idiots. And everyone who had one of the HALs in them, we killed them. They're dead.
Yep.
We knifed them in their sleep.
And Theresa dies with Hal. I mean, Hal dies with Theresa. When she dies, it will merge with Earth and never do anything again. So these children do not have that possibility. They're just super college educated 700-year-olds. So they're think about like the weirdo like homeschool kid at the chess tournament that's like he's playing high schoolers in chess and he's only 11. Think about how weird that kid was. These kids are so much weirder.
And they're never going to get old, right? They're not going to be able to. They've been neutered. and are wearing
they're kept in a
armbands?
prepubescent state, but I think it says now that we're back, we'll age like everybody else.
Oh, now that we're back, no, we will age like everybody else.
It says that.
Steve and I don't want to outlive our children.
It could be implied that's just about her and Steve, but...
Oh, it says we will age too, so that's just him. It's just clumsy writing. I think it means they will age, yes.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. But so they're saying, now you guys be ruled by these 400 prepubescent children, even though they don't have any of the powers that I used, and everything I did was really dependent on those powers. I can imagine the American people are going to be like, not going to happen. We want the guy that gets things done. We want the guy that knows things, not these little freaks.
I'm not going to, this kid is not sorry, not going to happen.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to point out, we've been saying goodbye to them for years. 2 words, good and BY, which is what he's done the entire book. And it drives me, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. I hate it so much.
Yeah. Wow. The ultimate genius with his Mary Sue stand-in can't figure out goodbye.
I have one more note, and it's in my book has a disclaimer at the end.
It does. Yep.
I would like to read the disclaimer and then give you my, It is doubtful that any American president would try what President Martin attempted, which is, I think, to blow her up, right?
Yep. To nuke her.
Or that men could be found to support him. The event in Chapter 4 was included to set up interesting what-if situations which would otherwise not be possible to consider in a story. Isn't that what all of fiction is about? What are you talking about?
Everything else I had no questions about.
Yes, everything else is true to its core, but this one...
Water pillars, arrows, New Jerusalem. No questions.
But about?
And he says it is doubtful any president would try what President Martin attempted, which was putting a girl with a garbage bag full of coke in a plane and launching her, then nuking her when she reaches the stratosphere. It's doubtful. I mean,
or that men would support her. Only men, by the way, women not.
Wow. He also then right after that says, Theresa names the alien in Chapter 1 Hal after viewing the movie 2001, but there was no similarity between the two Hals. Well, thank you for just addressing that massive unforced error. The end of the book kind of reminded me of that. Just 2001, where the first time I watched that high school, it ends and you're just like, what the hell just happened? Like he's in a hospital bed. Like what? That or like The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick, where it's like it cuts to Sean Penn sort of wandering these hills, and then there's dinosaurs. Like you have to like what ending of Tree of Life explained, and people are like, we don't know. It's like that's sort of what happens here. You just let's jump ahead a few millennia and then just run it into the pole, leave it smoking.
Yep. Maybe someone knows what he's talking about here. This is another in his final notes. This was something. Oh, Empress Theresa was written long before I heard about the Hunger Games. There are no similarities in content in the two stories. But if readers find any similarities in style or atmosphere, let me assure them it's a coincidence.
Well, let me assure you that that's not going to happen, sir.
What is going on there? So the stories are completely different. Why would anyone make the leap? What is he talking about?
I think he was worried that like people are going to be like, "Oh, your girl was a boss too. You're ripping off this girl boss Katniss." But then again, someone did shoot arrows at the water pillars, and that was her weapon of choice, I believe. So
yeah,
wow.
So that was written in August of 2016. His notes, like, "Hey man, I wrote this a long time ago."
Yeah.
I think he wrote the first 7/8 of the book, and then, like our guest, I think then he was like, "Oh crap, I better finish that thing." And then that's where, like, I don't know, they flew in a giant coffin and they dropped some children off.
It could have been like The Naked Clone, where you just handed it off to someone else and just like, I'm going to take it in a new direction. Or the movie, the Demon Warp that the riff tracks are putting out tomorrow, where it's just like the last 10 minutes of that are very similar in terms of just being like, there's a UFO. It has nothing to do with anything came before. It is not explained. Boom, movie's over.
Yep. Yeah. That was clearly the movie that we're releasing is clearly more he knew a makeup guy, the director.
Sure.
Or he was one himself and was like, I want to show off my skills. Because the story has nothing to do with just people wandering around in different masks.
Yeah, so imagine this where there's no makeup and there's no cool things to look at that you can show off, and it's just all of a sudden there's 420 suspended puberty children that are mankind is informed of their new rulers. They're all related. And what did they say? We kept them in this prepubescent state because we didn't want them to fool around with each other? What the hell?
I don't know what is going on there. That they are brother and sister, correct?
They didn't mind. Yeah, I would say so. They did. So mankind didn't mind when you put them to sleep.
So they would have children, let them grow till they were that age, and then neuter them, and then have more children? So that's why it took 600 years?
Uh-huh. And they were also educating them at a college level at some point in time.
So there's some of them, the youngest ones are probably only have a couple degrees, right? I mean,
sure, yeah, those are losers. Yeah, not fit to clean my toilet.
Well, you should see our bathroom. Oh, Steve.
Steve, I mean, are both of them just like sitting on frozen peas all day long? They've been done nothing but having 420 kids for the past 600 years. They've just got to be so sore and sick of each other.
Oh, well, anyway, that's that. That's the end of Empress Theresa.
Look, let's read the dumb sentences.
Dumb, 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 dumb. Dumb sentence of the week.
All right, here are the dumb sentences of the week sent in by our beloved and patient Patreon jackals over at patreon.com/372 pages. Hayden and Jeffrey both submitted the intellectual potential test, good family support, the attention I got from Jan Struthers watchers, being careful to keep myself out of trouble when so many kids around me were ruining their lives, the steady dating with Jeff Winslow, my quick early acceptance to BC, and Steve, all combined to build my psyche to where I could step up as Empress Theresa. And they said, not the all-powerful physical abilities? That wasn't... Jeff Winslow, her boyfriend, who she was mentioned 3 times in the book, always in the past. Mike submitted, she knows special interests will try to take over the resorts and make them monopolies. These are the ski resorts. Yeah. Mike said, because everything Theresa knows about the business she learned from 80s cable movies about ski lodges, karate schools, and bars with philosopher bouncers. Jim submitted, now adults of every kind are being randomly aroused. That was one of my favorites, too.
Yeah.
Ryan submitted, with all the things they'll be doing, there won't be enough time for quality time in the little time remaining to us.
Oh, wow. I missed that one.
Me too. Kara submitted, I smiled with many emotions at what I was doing. Tiff, that would be a fun physical challenge, I think. Tiff submitted, I bought 6 complete uniforms and 3 pairs of male shoes. Female shoes would look silly with the male dress. She says, apparently Norman thinks women wear stilettos and nothing else. Justin submitted, I went there every other day or two, stopping along the way to look at this or that store. And he said, can anyone explain what every other day or two means? It's either one. Skylar submitted, that was also another, now adults of every kind are being randomly aroused. Eamon submitted, the church pastor came up and Steve gave him a check for $10 million. And he said, I sincerely hope Steve once again told the person receiving the money that Theresa wouldn't even pick it up off the ground. Leah submitted, it became a boring thing to watch. I don't remember what that was referring to, but she said, and an even more boring thing to reading about. Glad the author is thoughtful enough to point out how dull the action in his book is. Arthur and Alejandro both submitted from the final notes in Chapter 1. Theresa names the alien entity Hal after viewing the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, but there is no similarity between the two Hals. Scott submitted, she didn't try to bring in a new order. And he asked, what the hell has she been doing all book long? Chap submitted, it's hard to look beautiful when you're staring down millions of people who were ordered to kill you.
That's good.
Jay submitted, brother, I, Theresa Elizabeth Sullivan Hartley, having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States, as indicated above in the grade of second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. And he said that she has no intention of whatsoever of honoring one word of her oath. It's like a serial adulterer taking wedding vows while simultaneously adding the bridesmaids to a secret Instagram group. And Janelle submitted, his emotions can be imagined. She said, but not by you, because the author wants to be done with this book. I don't know who that was referring to. Harris submitted, if you move Korea away from the mainland, China's support will dissolve. I don't remember if they ended up moving Korea next to China. By that point in time, who could care?
Yeah, I don't remember where they moved it, just out into the ocean, I guess.
Katie submitted, there were umpteen golly gee trillion molecules in the glass, and it might take a long time for Hal to find and pull apart every methyl blue molecule. And she said, I wish you luck summarizing the umpteen golly gee trillion ridiculous ideas Norman crammed into the last few chapters of this book. Nathan submitted, Hal is not a weapon you can aim at somebody. He said, except for all those times Hal was used to kill power to cars, or in certain areas of whatever the hell Empress Theresa was doing, and you could be killed shooting water miles into the air or terraforming mountains, etc. And Joel submitted, it's all about me, me, me. This from the humble hand of God, who mentions her humility for going to North Korea a few pages later. I have a couple that we didn't talk about. There were so many ways to shoot people! Exclamation mark. Or, yes. or just, I found the Move Jerusalem program. That was one of my favorites.
Which was a program meaning a plywood sheet, right?
Yes.
Okay. This was, we skipped over this. Just keep saying, I am what I do, and you'll do the right thing, was mine.
Just keep saying, I am what I do. Oh, got it. Right. Her advice
just
to all the people.
Just keep saying, I am what I do, and you'll do the right thing. What? And then follows it up with, nobody except a psychopath wants to be bad.
Wow.
I'm not so sure about that. But I don't want to argue with this theology at this
That's
point.
a question for a much different type of book and a much more talented author.
Yes.
Wow. Well, it's time to rank it, I think. We've got to put it into the pantheon.
Okay.
I think that I don't think I'm willing to put anything that's like actually been published over it, but I guess we can go down and sort of take it from piece by piece. I'm just trying to figure out what the last couple. Okay. So Ready Player One and Armada, I don't know. I think it's objectively worse.
It's worse. He's so bad.
The Eye of Argon on Tech War, of course not.
Of course.
The forensic certified public accountant of the cremated 64 Squares financial statements. Sure was shorter.
That was shorter. I'm gonna mark this down because he couldn't stop writing about her. So I'm gonna say he's worse than that, because that at least.
And when it comes down to weird screeds, at least that guy had sort of a positive worldview. Like people are falling in love, and he thought that was nice in his book. Bob Honey, Who Just Do Stuff, perennially near the bottom of the list.
That one is tough because I really, really dislike this one, but that one is a bit uglier. So I'm gonna have to rate that lower than this book. Although, again, this is like sifting dog turds and going, this one is worse than this one. Like, I don't know. Yeah, this dog ate the farmer's dog, so it's more organic, and this one just ate, what did he eat? A dead rat? Okay. Yeah. The Mister clearly is better than this. Trucking Through Time, clearly better. Lair of the White Worm, I mean, better. It's not clearly better. Shadow Moon, not clearly better, but like, I don't know. That was
Willow is a better character, right? That was long.
I mean, that one was that was edited too. I mean, I got to give you points for, not as many typos.
Right. Moon People, much more amusing than this.
Far more amusing.
Digital Fortress, again, a published book by had professional editors. Yeah. My Immortal was more amusing than this, in my opinion.
Yes, very much so.
Midnight Sun, the Twilight book, where the vampire's point of view. That was not good, but
that was rough. But this is he's a worse writer than that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Ready Player 2, brother. Quilters Pushed Back. I mean, whatever. At least that one talked about things that you understood.
Yes.
Quilters Pushed Back, obviously better. Model Land, more insane, but the rantings of a psychopath, it filtered into a more interesting and cohesive world, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
Irony Isley. Man, talk about one that I've ceased to remember a lot of, other than the funny name.
I
say it was better.
Again, that was shorter, so that was better, I think.
Right. Antigua obviously was better than this.
Yeah,
Gump and Company was better than this. Super Constitution is probably its closest analog.
Well, that was the only one that I could it's almost a 1-to-1 comparison. I would just have to say the ideas in Super Constitution are slightly uglier than this one.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
The talent level is roughly the same, but I think... So as much as it pains me, I think it's a little better than Super Constitution.
I think so, too. I think that didn't Super Constitution also get into tax rates and stuff? I mean, this was just more childish views of the world. Like, if I give everybody gold, everyone will be happy because they'll have gold, versus Super Constitution being like, well, if we sterilize the lower IQ people.
we made the tax rates in the lower, there's stuff about tax rates in certain countries, and then
right. It was more of a manifesto. This clearly was, but it was laid out like the Unabomber's manifesto.
That was clearly like, if you don't do what I say, we will murder you. We will kill you on the spot.
Killing Wave.
Killing Wave.
Murder in Christmas River. Every cozy is better than this one, I think. Edison's Conquest of Mars is better. Artemis, brother. I mean, bruh.
I don't know.
It's better. It has to be better. Like,
I think it's a little better than this. This guy is so bad.
Yeah, a little better than Empress Theresa is still not a compliment.
No.
The Starlight Barking, which was another one where all of humanity fell asleep, which happened at the end of this one. So that's another bizarre connection.
I forgot about that. Slightly
Teen Archaeologists was better than this.
Way better.
If they were trying to pander to teens by writing a book about them. Killer Christmas Affair, the plagiarized book, was still, again,
better. Yeah.
10,000 words long. Caleb's Dream, sort of a weird manifesto-y self-insert.
Ooh.
It's, again, a very similar analog.
A little more enjoyable. This one irritated me a little more.
Sure. That might just be because it's further along, but I think that
was irritating at the time.
I'll put them they can share a podium in my mind.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe a little, more insane. I don't know. She moved to Israel in this book. So Bridge to Bat City, I'd recommend children read that instead of this, if I was being honest.
Yes, I guess so.
Tech Kill, better. Quilting Cruise, better. The Legend of Ra and the Muggles.
Ooh. Shorter?
Again, shorter, which is what it has in store. And, less sneering, I would guess, at humanity and thinking.
Yeah, it was just trying to do a weird fantasy. It failed. She was a terrible writer, but these ideas, this old man in his socks and sandals spraying kids on his lawn, I'm not a fan of.
Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover.
Oh, that was better. Again, time heals all wounds.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to put myself back. I think we said that was the worst book we'd read, so maybe it just has the repeated beats in that one were as bad as the water moving and pillars in this, I think.
That was the old guy on the elevator bench.
Yeah, Pop, right? Or Cap. Captain.
Old Cap, yeah.
I don't know. I think, again, saying it's slightly better than this, I'll put Artemis, Empress Theresa, Ugly Love will be my, and just by nth degrees to each other.
Okay.
Night of the Crabs, better than this. Deception Point, Dan Brown, better than this.
Better.
I'll Be Home for Christmas, better. Mayor of Noobtown. I still think it was worse than this. I think it's. I don't even really think that's a question.
That one is tough. I think I equally hated them. That's clouding my judgment right now. How much I hate this book.
Yeah, but
it's hard for me to be objective.
This had more stuff happen though, like moving Israel, sterilized prepubescent kids.
Like, I don't know. Everything that he did just irritated me. Like, oh, now we're
and
doing
Mayor
this.
of Noobtown
like,
didn't. That guy's getting rich.
I did hate Mayor of Noobtown. That's what I'm saying. It's like my hate for them is both. It's clouding my judgment. I can't decide which is worse.
Okay, I will put Mayor of Noobtown at the bottom, Ugly Love, this and Super Constitution, and then Artemis. Maybe that's how I rounded out my bottom 5. So be it.
Wait, what about the Sean Penn book?
Oh, Bob Honey. Oh, man.
Yeah, that one's consistently worse than.
It is, but it's shorter.
I know. That's the thing.
I'd rather reread that than Colleen Hoover. I think.
Really? Okay.
I mean, just the shortness. It has. We read Bob Honey for all of, 4 episodes. That's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Colleen Hoover was so vapid, and so the popularity of it also weighs into my mind because again, she got so rich off of it. Sean Penn, I guess, was already rich, but not because of the book.
And is that
all right? Well, tell us if we're wrong. Yeah, that was the last one. Mayor of Noobtown was the last thing we read before this.
Yeah. Okay. So. Well, this guy is just terrible. I can't think, like, give me time and I'll tell you what is better than that. But this is so bad. So bad. And the fact that he had insane ideas is like, I guess that's, I mean, I like when people swing for the fences, but when you have the talent of like a 2-year-old, I don't know. Right. It's like, this is like a 2-year-old telling you his dreams. And you're just like, I don't know if I can stay interested in this.
And devoid of the initial novelty, I think, of him responding to you when you came and poked his cage when the book was first out. And I think that had a long way of amusing people as they were reading it for the first time. And now the fact that he's either retired from that or died or something, that takes some of the fun out of it. But I still would rather read that than stat sheets, I think.
I guess when I look back on it with fondness, I'll think of the ship emptying with their children who have been neutered and wearing armbands. And I'll go, oh yeah, that was kind of funny. So I'm irritated right now. I have dyspepsia over this book, but maybe in the future I'll go, I don't know, it had some funny stuff. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a good thing to go out on.
Yeah.
Hundreds of neutered children filing out of a spaceship. Think of that when you think of our podcast.
Wearing armbands. Goodbye, everyone.